Well, hi folks, here we are again. Another quick roundup, about fortnightly roundup, show you how things have progressed in the heat wave. We actually had some rain yesterday for a bit. We had about half an inch, but that's the first rain we've had in nearly 2 months. But it's not done a great deal. I'll just show you what's going on anyway. So we'll start off, we've got a few spring onions. They're really bulking up now, but if you look at the cracks in the ground, look at that. It's like Death Valley. I put my hand in. The peas have finished, the first lot now. So I picked all those last night and just stripped them all back. So I'll put some more lettuce in there, or a few turnips or something, because there'll be quite a bit of nitrogen in the soil that the roots have left from the peas, because they're fixed nitrogen in the soil. So something like lettuce will enjoy the extra nitrogen. Lettuces seem to just be growing really well, even in the heat wave, in the drought. And I'll show you how dry it has been. Look at that for a crack. Look at the cracks. Look, my whole garden's just turning into blocks of solid cracked stuff. But like I said, still all right. That's the first icebergs and the second lot of multigrain and cos there. They're about ready. So not too bad. I'm just about to plant the third lot out to keep them going. The shallots, again, despite having no water, they're starting to swell nicely now. You can see the size. Another sort of 2 or 3 weeks and these will be perfect size. Don't want to grow them too much bigger, because that's the ideal size anyway. And like I say, another couple of weeks and they should be right. Ooh, fell over. Onions are starting to bulb a bit now. These are the heat treated ones. As you can see, not a single one's gone to seed. The beauty of growing them from sets that have been heat treated. No matter how sort of harsh the conditions are or dry, they just don't get shocked into sending a seed head out. So for me, it's worth paying the extra few pence, a couple of pence a set, to guarantee yourself a good crop. Now the garlic this year, I don't know how it'll do, because like I said, like everything else, not had any moisture to make the bulbs swell. It's looking shriveled, looking a bit yellow. It's not got any rust, but we'll see. I've not had a scratch around at the base to see how big the bulbs are yet. I won't bother with that. I'll just leave them to grow on as long as they can, and then we'll dig them up and see what we've got. So I've got a few more lettuce I've been bringing on in the greenhouse. I'm going to plant them in this row now. That's where I've taken the first lot of lettuce out. Put a bit more bloodfish and bone in, just to give it a bit more nutrients, and then just put a few more lettuces in any little spaces I've got. Spuds seem to be going well. Well, let's have a look. Chest height now. So they're a fair old size. There's some second early Nicolas, Sarpo Miras and Sarpo Blue Danubes. So they're all looking alright. I've been giving them as much water as I can manage to get. I've not watered anything outside, but the stuff in the pots obviously needs it. So far so good. We'll just have to wait and see what we're like when we tip them out. So these are my second lot of peas that I planted about 3 weeks after the first, and I've been taking those as well. And they're almost finished. There'll only be another picking of those. So I've been filling the freezer up with peas. They freeze absolutely. They're the best veg to freeze that you can grow, so they're fantastic. So yeah, I've been a bit overwhelmed with peas this year. And to be honest, since the rain, the rhubarb was looking absolutely dead and all wilted, and just since that bit of rain, it hasn't half sort of perked it back up again. So I should be able to pick a bit more of that. But as you can see, the mare's tail's just coming back. I've given up weed killing it. I've just been pulling it out whenever I can, trying to kill it that way, but I haven't been up for a few days, and it just seems to grow like nothing, like nobody's business. But anyway, we'll see if we can get on top of it eventually. I've not picked the gooseberries under here yet. I'm just going to let them get as ripe and big as possible. So if the birds can't get to them, you can see the bird poo on here. They've been sitting on here and they've eaten all my... It's a bit of a mess in here. This is actually a self-seeded black currant. Well, you can't see it now. So I never planted it. And they've been eating those instead, so there's no black currants left. But we should have a decent enough crop of gooseberries in a while. So into the marrow bit and the other patch. And as you can see, the marrow's absolutely flying along now. And that bit of water should make it absolutely fly. So what I need to do now is start burying the vines. And the side vines like this. what I'll do is cover all these up with soil, and then what they do is they send a root out at every leaf node there into the soil. So then the more of that you do, the more root system the plant gets, and then hopefully the bigger the marrow ends up. But so far so good. I've got all these are in the way now because they're too big. So the leeks, despite the dry weather, not looking too bad at all. So they've could do with a little bit of weeding, but not a great deal. There's only a few odd bits I can just hand weed. A few more onions, starting to bulb, not too bad. And the giant runner beans are starting to produce runner beans. Way too early for any shows, so I think I'll just ignore those. And again, the other marrow there, looking good. Probably about 15 foot long now. So it hasn't half once it gets its roots down, and I think with it being dry it'll have encouraged it to force its roots right down to get the moisture. So now that it has put a bit of rain down, it should absolutely fly along. So fingers crossed we get a giant marrow this year that gets to £100, but I'm not going to set a fruit yet. I'll set one in about 2 weeks, give it about 5 weeks to grow. Wait until the plant's as big as possible so then it can put as much energy into the fruit as possible. Yep, so this bit's not so bad. Oops, nearly fell over. I'm going to plant a few turnips in this spare bed like I kept saying, but I've not got round to it yet. And the kale, as always, just flying along. I could start taking it now, but it's a bit warm to be eating cabbagey stuff in it at the moment. So yet again, into the polytunnel we go. I'll leave the onions till last. Check out these cucumbers. I don't know why I grow so many. That one's got about 6 on, that one's got about 5 on. I only eat about 1 a week, and there's 3 there within 6 inches. So why I grow so many I do not know, but these are the Carmen ones I've grown. They're well, if you grow them the right way, they're a good show variety, and I'm not surprised because they're quite a straight one. If you grew them so that the cucumbers could hang perfectly straight instead of sitting on the floor like mine are doing. But considering how little the plant is, it's banging out some fruit. The courgettes, having a bit of problem with these. They just not seem to get pollinated. I think what it is because on my polytunnel doors there, I've got this mesh, this metal mesh, 5mm mesh, just to keep any vermin out, rats and mice and stuff. It's small enough not to let any butterflies and things big enough to pollinate the courgettes. So that's probably the reason. But flies should do it. There should be plenty of flies about. French beans, I've been eating these a day in, day out. I'm getting fed up with them now. But there's plenty. They're absolutely hanging off. And I'm starting to train them across. And believe it or not, considering how sick I am of them, I'm actually going to, plant another 6 plants at the back of here for a later crop into September, October. And see how they get on. But yeah, carrots, show carrots, looking alright. Whether I've got any shows to go to is another matter. I don't know whether our little village show's on this year or not. But anyway, if not, they're fantastic to eat. The giant long carrots, well not giant ones, just long carrots, looking alright. Trouble is I've only got 7 growing, so it'll be a bit difficult to get a set of 3 out of 7, but we will see. Now this courgette plant is taking over as well. This is I've forgotten the name of it again. But that's the same, that's not really getting any fruit set. They're just sort of growing to the size of your finger and then that's it. But I'd rather have that because you can still eat them when they're that size, and I'm getting plenty of them. But anyway, we'll see. Oh, it's roasting in here. The giant potatoes are taking over the place. It's like a triffid, and considering there's only 3 potatoes under all that, we will see what's underneath come September. The giant carrots. There's only 4 carrots in there, and they are looking absolutely huge. But lots of tops and doesn't necessarily mean big bottoms, so there could be loads of leaves and nothing underneath. But again, we'll see at Harrogate. That's the trouble with stuff that you can't see until you pull it up. It could either be fantastic or a complete disaster. And if you'd have known about 3 months ago that it was going to be a disaster, if your onions are not growing, you can just pull them up and eat them. But stuff that's hidden in the soil, you can't really do much. But things that are looking quite positive are the onions again. Oops, still growing. I'm getting running out. I might need a bigger pot. I put a can of pot there, look. I've still got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 17 fresh green leaves on, which is basically all that powers it now, because they don't put any more leaves out. So the more leaves you've got at this stage, the bigger it should grow and the longer it should grow. But that's the biggest so far, and it's a beauty. It's the biggest I've ever had at this stage so far, and it's not far behind. It's only about 3 inches behind me, the biggest I've ever grown, and there's a good month and a half left to grow, if it still grows. So fingers crossed, if it keeps growing we should be on for a monster. But all the rest, still alright. They're all pretty much similar. That one's quite a good one. And then there's this one here, which is quite a nice shaped one. Again, I'll just go around this side. It's a big boy, that one. Oh. So that's doing alright. Onions, no pests since I put all these predators on. Cost me a fortune, but I don't spray anything in with any poison and stuff like that, because I'll even eat these giant onions. So I'm not into spraying stuff. It's probably the way to go to keep everything off, but it's not my kind of thing. Right, the giant carrots, I'll just show you the sort of size. You know how big your normal carrots are in your garden. Well, that's 1 carrot. And there's one here that you think you can see the top of. Already it's about 2 inches across. I'm just hoping there's about 6 legs on it. And they're all the same. So it should be fun seeing what we've got. So that's about it up at the plot. There's not a lot going on at the greenhouse apart from a bit of peppers and tomatoes and stuff like that, so nothing too brilliant. But anyway, it's so parched. I've never seen the countryside as brown as that before around here, but fantastic weather. So that's about it, folks. See you later. Well, I thought I will just give you a quick look around the greenhouse, show you how it's going on, because I probably don't notice how much it's picked up in the last 2 weeks. So just look at the cucumber, yet another cucumber, massive ones on there. I don't know why I grow them, honestly don't. Now these are the Jarosz long chilies that I'm growing for Harrogate. They're getting really big now. I'm starting to put some flowers on, but the thing with the Jarosz long cayenne pepper is the peppers can be up to about 15 inches long. So they hang right down and they look absolutely amazing when they're covered in them. They're dead easy to grow. I just grew these from seed, you know, quite late on, and you can see how big they are. They're 2 foot tall. So they're doing well. It's alright so far. These are really early, these. Look at the chilies on them already. I've not tried any yet, but I can't believe how fast they are. That's a really compact plant. I've forgotten what they're called now though, to be honest. Tomatoes, doing alright. Got about 6 or 7 trusses on. Got a bit scorched at the top there, as you can see, just because it's been so hot. But I'm at the top of the greenhouse now, and I've got 6 trusses on. So that's as much as I can get off one plant. It's plenty enough, and there's plenty coming. Just need it to start ripening up a bit, which shouldn't be a problem if this sun continues. And some of these peppers, little funky banana peppers, lovely looking colour. They are sweet peppers. I'm not sure how big they grow. Could do with them growing a little bit bigger, but look quite interesting anyway. And the Shirley tomatoes. Put some nice trusses on now. As you can see, I've tied the trusses on to the stem because they tend to get that heavy. It pulls the truss off the stem and snaps it off. It's a bit of a natural design flaw in the variety, really. So if you do grow Shirley, make sure you do something like that. Then it can't pull it down any further. Because I've done it before, and you just come in one morning and they're all snapped off on the floor, which is a bit of a shame. Some more peppers. These are Poseidon, little normal general bell peppers. We've got about 10 on that plant, so that's pretty good out of a small pot. Some more chilies. Again, some of them actually going right there, red. I just grow them just because I like growing them. I'm not a big chilli fan, but I find them fascinating to grow. Another one of the chilli peppers there. Look how much further behind that one is. And they're all been grown at the same time. Bigger plant, smaller fruit. And likewise this one. It's got smaller fruit as well. And another pepper, so I'm just full of peppers really. And you can see that's one of the jaws long again, and that's just starting to set some of the fruit. They get really long, like I said, up to about 15 inches long. So they're a cracking plant to grow just for the curiosity of it. And these tumbling tomatoes, like I say, they're just ridiculous. The amount of tomatoes you get on them, just by ignoring them, letting them do exactly what they want, and they just send out tomato after tomato. I mean, just look at the state of it. It's just bunches. Just one pot, one plant in a 10-litre pot, and they're just everywhere. Just let them do what they want. No training involved, no nipping out, pinching out, and they just leave them be. Feed them and water them, and jobs are good. And anyway, that's about it, folks. Not so bad. Things progressing. So that's about it. Finally. See you later.